What's up YouTube, S&KGamingg here, welcoming you back to week 7 of the PMC, guys. This is our last week of the regular season. If we win this battle against Dolphin, we will actually go to the playoffs. If we lose, we do still have a chance to go to the playoffs. He has to beat us by like no more than 2, I believe, in order to in order for us to go to playoffs. If he beats us by more than 2, we do not make playoffs. But I actually did not do a team builder for this, so I'm actually going to run through our team real quick. We have our Choice Scarf Mew, who is our physically offensive threat. He's there for superpower, 1 hits Greninja, and as long as he's not Choice Scarf, we outspeed. Suicune is our physical wall per usual. He is carrying the HP Electric this week because I expected Vaporeon to come, but as you guys can see, he did not bring Vaporeon. Scizor is actually defensive this week. I didn't feel like he did too much against Dolphin. Bug Bite was doing a lot to Greninja, but HP Fire 1 hit him, even if he was timid Life Orb. So I didn't really see the need to bring fully offensive Scizor this week, so I brought him with sub, knockoff, Bug Bite, Bullet Punch, I think. And he's fully specially defensive, so he can live some hits from Raikou and stuff. We have Electros, who we're bringing for the first time since our first battle against Dolphin. Pretty much the same setup that we bring every week, or every time we bring Electros. Blissey, standard Blissey, Seismic Toss, just to pop subs and stuff in case the Arcanine wants to set up a sub, or the Mandibuzz. And I actually expected him to bring Vaporeon and sub up with that, and just in case. And then Scarf Garchomp just to hit Mons super hard. And as you can see, he's bringing the Mandibuzz, Raikou, Magneton, Heracross, Arcanine, and Greninja. I did not expect him to bring the Magneton or the Heracross. I didn't really plan too well for them because my only real answers for them are Electros with Flamethrower. So that's a little unfortunate, but we'll see how this battle ends up going, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and oopsie poopsie, we're spoiling stuff. I decided to actually let me actually just mute this. Sorry about that. I decided to lead Mew because I outsped his Greninja, which I did expect him to lead with, and he does have a Scarf, so he outspeeds us. But that's actually fine because I'm sorry, you're going to see the volume control, because he can't kill us as long as he was, if he was Scarfed. So Superpower is going to knock him out. If he hadn't been Scarfed, we would have outsped, which would have been nice, but Scarf Greninja couldn't kill us with the Dark Pulse, and I knew that going into it. So he's actually going to switch out to Mandibuzz here, or after Greninja falls, he's going to go out to Mandibuzz, and at this point I was like, okay, I can just switch out this weekend to my physical wall, because Mandibuzz can't touch me even if he has a Brave Bird. But he is just going to go for the Foul Play here, showing that he does, in fact, carry the Foul Play. Which is going to play a big role later on, as you guys will see in just a little bit. But he's going to go Foul Play, and it's not going to do anything because Suicune's attack is very low. He's going to switch out into Raikou here, which I'm going to go for the Ice Beam. I was just trying to hit the Mandibuzz and hit as much as I could. Ice Beam seemed like a good middle ground play. And he's actually going to get some really bad hacks here, and he's going to get frozen, which kind of really sucks for him. But and ended up not playing too much of a role. Try not to spoil things, but it ended up not being too much of an issue. So I'm going to go out and Mew here and just fire off a good EQ, because I didn't think he would bring in the Mandibuzz, fearing something. And also he wanted to get the Intimidate drop with the Arcanine. But even with this Intimidate drop, my Choice Scarf Mew is going to do about half to this Arcanine, which you guys will see right about now. And it wasn't a 2-hit KO, especially with the Leftovers recovery. It would have to be a very high roll or a crit, and I figured Mew was still kind of important, so I decided to switch out, go back into Suicune, and this is where I actually misplay, because here I should have just gone for the Ice Beam, but I actually decided I wanted to hit the Arcanine, and he's going to win with me here, but that's fine because we're Resto Chesto, so it honestly does not matter. But I should have gone for the Ice Beam here because obviously he's going to switch out. But I actually clicked Scald, and it ended up thawing out the Raikou, as you guys will see in just a second. And that's definitely a misplay on my part because as much as it sucks that I froze his Raikou, like I should have played that better. I should have capitalized on the fact that he was frozen. But the Scald actually is going to thaw him out here. So again, a bit unfortunate just because I wasted, having a frozen Raikou. But at this point, I was like, I gotta switch out because Suicune cannot take a Thunderbolt from Raikou. But I switch out into Blissey because I know Blissey can live anything this thing wants to do, even if his choice specs Aura Sphere. He goes for the Shadow Ball, which is good because we're immune to that. And I'm actually just going to set up rocks here just because I can. He switches out into Heracross, which I was like, I am Chople Berry, but I really don't want Blissey to take this much damage this early on in the game, especially because I'm going to lose a soft-boiled close combat game. So I decided to switch out into Suicune because I know I can eat up, or I switch out into Electros, excuse me. I switch out into Electros because I know he can't really touch me. He goes for the knockoff to knock off our AV, which is really, really unfortunate, but I'm glad he didn't knock off our Chestaberry, but he's going to withdraw Heracross here, as I believe I'm just going to click the Flamethrower because I did not think he was going to switch out. I should have figured he was switching out, but I was really hoping to just knock out that Heracross because I was really scared of that Heracross because, like I said, I didn't really have any answers to it. But that Flamethrower is doing a decent amount of damage, even though it is, you know, resisted because it's Arcanine. But Electros too good. He's gonna get the leftovers recovery, and I'm just gonna switch out into Suicune here because he is our physical wall, and I know that Arcanine can't touch us. And I believe he goes for the Willow here. I believe that's what's about to happen. Let us find out. He goes for the Morning Sun. This Arcanine ended up being a lot more of a problem than I thought it was going to be. I definitely thought I had enough checks for it this time, and I knew what it was going to want to do after the last battle, but I still just... Arcanine's just really, really good. He's really bulky. Morning Sun is reliable recovery, and we're going to take some more damage from that burn there. He's going to switch out, and I clicked Scald because I knew he was going to go back out into Raikou, and I didn't want to click Ice Beam. I wanted to get off some more damage, and Scald was probably the best move I had. I actually go for the rest, excuse me. Oh my goodness, I am forgetting what happened. I go for the rest here just because I was at half health, and I kind of thought he might just stay in and Wild Charge or something, thinking I might click Ice Beam, expecting him to switch out into Raikou. But he switches out here as I eat my Chestaberry, and he goes out into Mandibuzz. And at this point, I was like, well, this thing is a threat because it's bulky as mess. So I'm going to switch out and go into Electros because he can't really touch us because our attack stat is really low, and we resist his Brave Bird. So, and I didn't think he was going to have anything else because he does seem bulky. And at this point, he goes for the Defog to get rid of Rocks, which is it's a good play. It's a good play because Rocks would really whittle down his team. And I'm going to go for the Thunderbolt here, and here we will see that he is actually not specially defensive. Because I did way too much damage, and that was not even a crit, so he has like no special defense investment, or if he does, it's very, very little. So at this point I was like, okay, great, we can just spam Thunderbolt here. He's going to go for the Roost, but honestly this is still going to do a decent amount of damage, but he is healing up so much health with that Roost, which is really unfortunate. And I'm just going to keep spamming Thunderbolt because we will eventually win that if he stops clicking Roost, you know. I wish I outsped him. That would be really, really nice. But we are negative speed nature because I didn't want to compromise any of my defenses or the attack because I do have knockoff. So I'm just going to keep spamming Thunderbolt, and it gets a little spammy here just because he's spamming Roost, I'm spamming Thunderbolt, but that's fine. I thought about switching out into Sizzler and predicting the Roost and then hitting him with a Bug Bite, but I didn't want him to click Foul Play and just try to get damage off, and Sizzler would take like 60% from that. So I decided to just stay in and keep clicking Thunderbolt, and it gets a little stally here, I guess. Not really stally, it's just kind of slow as we're just, going back and forth. And he decides to switch out, actually, which is, I guess, good for him because he was going to run out of Roost eventually. He goes on to Graviton, his Magneton, and I clicked the Thunderbolt. I wasn't expecting him to switch out at all. But that does a decent amount of damage. He's actually going to switch out, I guess, expecting the Flamethrower, which I did go for. He actually made some really, really good plays this game. He made some really good predictions. This was one of them. Obviously, he baited in the Flamethrower because Thunderbolt actually does a decent amount to non-specially defensive Arcanine, which I don't think this is Spadef. It might be, but it actually probably is. I think it is because it took a lot from that EQ. So I'm going to switch out here and go into Suicune just because, again, he's our physical wall, and Arcanine cannot touch him. I believe he goes for the Willow here. I believe that's his play. He goes for the Willow, he's going to burn my Suicune again, which is fine. I mean, we ate up our Chestaberry, but we still have rest, and as long as Suicune's at a good amount of health, he serves his purpose, especially with the Vaporeon not being there. HP Electric isn't going to do anything to the rest of his team. He's actually going to go for the Crunch here and try to get the defense drop. which I do believe he gets on this turn. He does not. Okay, I know he gets it later on in the game, but I'm just gonna click Scald, and that's gonna do a decent, like a lot of damage. So that's a crit. So he might have been Spit F because even a crit like that's not as much as it should have done. So I do believe he was specially defensive. I actually should have asked him that. We had a good conversation after the game, but he's gonna go for the Morning Sun here because he knows I can't one-hit him, obviously, and Morning Sun's gonna put him at a range where I can't knock him out with a Scald. And this is another point where it's just going to get a little back and forth between Scald and Morning Sun. But honestly, that's fine. I believe he switches out here just because he knows that he's going to go for the Crunch. This might be where he gets the defense drop, actually. Nope, he doesn't. I go for a Scald again just to get off some damage on this Arcanine or whatever he wants to switch into. I know I can't take down this Arcanine one-on-one. With my Suicune because he outspeeds me, and Morning Sun brings him to a range where unless I get a crit and bring him down really low, I can't knock him out from the range that Morning Sun brings him back to. But I had to stay in here because I had to at least try to whittle this thing down because Arcanine is a threat. So I'm just going to keep clicking Scald, and actually this turn he goes for the Crunch one more time, and I clicked Rest because I needed to get some HP back because I was so low, and This part was really, really lucky on my part. He goes for the Crunch, and I was like, oh man, I might not live this. I might not live this, but I live it on 8 HP, and this is where he gets the defense drop, but I rested up, so that's honestly fine with me, because now we're back at full health. So even if Suicune can't dish out damage, he can come in and soak up some hits from Mandibuzz, or Arcanine, or even the Heracross. Although Heracross is close combat, if he was Choice Banded, was doing about half to me, so that's not my, first choice, but he's actually going to switch out here because he knows that I have at least one turn of sleep, and he's going to go into Raikou to force out my Suicune. And at this point, I was like, I kind of have to go into, I believe I switch out into Electros here because I was like, I kind of have to go out on him because Blissey can't really do too much to Raikou. All I have on it attacking-wise is Seismic Toss, and Thunderbolt's not doing anything to Electros, even without the Assault Vest. But I'm going to knock off here and get rid of whatever item he has. We see that he is Assault Vest, so he was Timid Assault Vest, which is kind of what I expected. That's a pretty common Raikou moveset, or spread as long as you're not Life Orb. But he's going to switch out into the Arcanine here to get that Intimidate drop, so my knockoff's not doing too much, but I actually am going to knock off this Arcanine's leftovers. Before he switched out, I figured I should just knock off, get rid of whatever item he's going to have, because I knew he was going to try to save his Raikou because it's his fastest Mon. Other than Greninja, which is already gone. So at this point, I was just like, let me just Thunderbolt. We get the Paralysis on the Arcanine, which is nice. It'll slow things down a little bit, and I actually outspeed him now, so I could potentially win this matchup because I will outspeed, although Morning Sun is still an issue, especially because he probably used PP up. I actually did not use PP up this battle. This is the one battle in a long time that I have not used PP up on. So that's a little unfortunate. He's going to go for the Will-O-Wisp here just to burn Electros and just to get off some chip damage, which is a good play. It kind of sucks for me, but it is what it is. And I'm just going to keep spamming Thunderbolt here because eventually we might be able to take out this Arcanine, and we actually take it out with that Thunderbolt. So that was good because another Morning Sun would have put him at a really good range, and that would have really sucked. But Electros is looking really, really low here, which kind of sucks because it's my only answer to Heracross, which he actually brings in now. And I did click Thunderbolt, or not Thunderbolt, but Flamethrower, but he actually goes for the close combat, knocking me out. But I'm kind of okay with that because he gets the defense and Sped F drop, so I'm free to go in here. Oh, he gets the Moxie boost, and at this point in the game, I was like, crap, because Moxie Heracross can actually like almost sweep my team, especially if he's Scarf. But he actually switches out here, which I was like, thank God. And goes out into the Mandibuzz. I just clicked the Dragon Claw because I figured he might switch out, or I didn't figure he might switch out, but it was my strongest attack against Heracross. It was doing like 60% maybe, and Earthquake was only doing about 40, and I needed to get off as much damage as I could. But I'm actually going to switch out here because Foul Play is doing about 60-70% to me. And I go into Blissey because he was doing like 6% to Blissey with the Foul Play, but he's going to go for Roost. And I do want to apologize right now to you guys. Pretty much from this point throughout the rest of the battle, I decided that I was probably going to have to timer stall. because I realized that this Mandibuzz was a real issue, especially now that Electros was down, because the only thing I had to really hit it was Suicune. And so I'm just going to spam Seismic Toss against this Mandibuzz, and just try to get off as much damage as I could. But it really came down to me timer stalling. By the time I realized that I could switch out and do some stuff, it was at the point of the game where he could have timer stalled me if I had misplayed and lost something. But I'm going to take out the Raikou here with the Seismic Toss. So those are three big offensive threats going. So he's down to 3 Pokemon. He goes into Heracross, and even though I'm Chople Berry, I really just don't want to take that because I do realize that Blissey is kind of my win con against the Mandibuzz. So I go into Mew, and he's just going to knock off my Mew. This was kind of a misplay on my part because Mew also could have done a decent amount of damage to the Mandibuzz, but he's going to get another Moxie boost here, which I was like, crap. But I go into Suicune just because he can't do too much to me, and if I can wake up, then I can potentially Scald Burn him and like reduce the amount of damage he'll be doing with the Moxie boost. But he's gonna go for the knockoff there, which I'd already gotten rid of my Chesta Berry, which is fine, so that's not doing too much. But he's actually gonna switch out again and go out into Graviton, I guess, to hit me really hard. But I'm still sleeping. You know, there's still the Z's coming out from the top of my head. So I decided to switch out here into Blissey just because he can't really touch me. Even if he's, you know, HP fighting or whatever. He sets up the Reflect, which is fine because the only thing Blissey has to hit is Seismic Toss, and I don't believe Reflect affects Seismic Toss because it does whatever the level is. It might, but I don't think it does. He switches out into Mandibuzz, and I go for the Heal Bell to wake up Suicune, just because I figured Suicune was kind of important against the Heracross, just to try to get off a burn with the Scald. Because if we could burn that Heracross, then we could potentially, like, you know, win this, because Heracross wouldn't be doing nearly as much, even if he got a Moxie boost somehow. He goes on to Graviton, which is fine. I'm going to switch out here. Decided to double out into Suicune, but that was actually kind of a bad play on my part because I didn't expect him to go on to Graviton. I kind of expected him to stay in and taunt Blissey, so I couldn't get up rocks again. But we're just going to switch out and go back into Blissey because Magneton can't touch me. The only thing on his team now that can touch the Blissey is Heracross, which he actually really just does not switch into here. And he actually got kind of upset after the game because I was timer stalling. But he could have switched into Heracross and close combated, but he didn't. Like I said, at this point in the game, I really realized that I was going to have to timer stall. But it was at the point where I was like, okay, well, I could switch into Garchomp here, Dragon Claw, do about 60%. He would foul play me, do about 60%, and then I would knock out Mandibuzz. And then if he was Choice Scarf Heracross, he could come in and potentially revenge kill me. And then I would have to go into Scizor, and I would have to do a bunch of stuff. And it was just like, it was to the point where he could have timer stalled me after I lost Garchomp or after I lost Scizor or taking down Mandibuzz, and it wasn't worth it to me. So I just stayed in here with Blissey and Seismic Tossed because Mandibuzz again can't touch me. And Seismic Toss was my best play because he kept taunting me, so I couldn't set up rocks or Soft Boil or Heal Bell or anything. So this is where it gets really stally, and I might actually just like fast forward through this part. But no, there's not much time left in the video. But yeah, it's pretty much just us going back and forth with Seismic Toss and him roosting / taunting so I can't set up Stealth Rocks. And that's pretty much how the rest of the battle went. I believe he switched out into Magneton once at like towards the end, and I just Seismic Tossed him. And actually, I think I can just skip through the rest of it. It's literally just me Seismic Tossing. I switched out into Blissey or into Suicune to try to Ice Beam the Mandibuzz. He switched out into Magneton, so I went back out into Blissey. He T-Bolts, and we're going to see how much damage this did. Nothing. So I mean, he really can't touch me. I decided to Soft Boil here because you know, I didn't want to lose Blissey that easily, you know, because I realized that he was kind of my win con, or she was kind of my win con, and I figured if it went down to us having 3 Mons, Blissey was going to win me based on HP because she has 362 HP. So he taunts me again. I seismic toss, just trying to get off some damage. I'm actually going to fast forward some more. Oops. So he switches out into Heracross here. Trying to get off the close combat, I guess. But I get off a seismic toss, so I do some more damage. It actually does a decent amount of damage there. That's actually, seismic toss is a really good move. Like no duh, Spencer. But I switch out to Suicune just because I was like, well, close combat will do about 50% to me, and then I can scald him and maybe get a burn. But he goes for Mega Horn, which I don't know why, but that's not doing hardly anything. And he's going to withdraw as I believe I click Scald, and he switches into Graviton, and yeah, I click Scald. And I was kind of hoping for a burn, so maybe I could get some residual damage on this thing, but I don't get it. So I switch out into Blissey again, because again, he can't touch me. And yep, I mean, this is pretty much how the rest of the battle went. I mean, it kind of sucks. I didn't like doing it, but it was for a playoff position, and I wasn't about to mess up or have him be a set that I didn't expect and take out something that I thought could easily kill one of his Mons, and then have him timer stall me or run out of, just simply run out of time, because at this point in the game we were really low on time. So I was like, I'm not gonna make the risky play. If he wants to make a risky play, like, I'll counter it as best as I can, but I'm not going to initiate the risky play because I can pick up the win here. And it's crappy that I had to timer stall to get it, but a win's a win, and that put me in the playoffs. So this is really towards the end of the battle here. We're still seismic tossing, foul playing, roosting, taunting over and over and over again. It was really not fun to play at this part. Like, I was just kind of like, I was like watching TV while I was waiting for the timer to run down a little bit more so I could waste as much time as possible. And he was foul playing and I was seismic tossing. And we're almost done. Whew. I did not expect this to be this long. It was a 22-minute video. Like, this video probably isn't because I skipped a little bit. But there we go. The time has run out. Battle is over. I defeated Dolphin. So yeah, it's kind of sucky how it ended up finishing. Just again with the timer stall, because I really did not. That's the first time I've ever timer stalled in any way. Like, even like in the middle of the battle, I've never timer stalled before. And but I mean, a win's a win, and it is a legitimate, a legitimate strategy. And it sucks, but good game, Dolphin. He had a lot of bulk on his team that I was not, I guess I was not prepared for the Mandibuzz as well as I thought I was. And I was not prepared for that Heracross either. That was a big threat. But it was still a good game, especially in the beginning. There were a lot of really good plays, especially on his part. He made a lot of really good predictions in the beginning of the game. And if I just hadn't had as much bulk as I had, he definitely probably would have picked up the win just because of his, good plays in the beginning, especially predicting the Scald and switching into Raikou and unfreezing himself with that unfortunate freeze hacks that he had there. But so with that, your Washington Talonflames are now 5-2 in the PMC, guys. We came back from a rough week 2 and week 3. But we are 5-2, and we are now in the playoffs. We have our first week of the playoffs next week, which we are going up against Jack Miendoge again. So we'll have a rematch against him. Hopefully we can pick up the win there and continue on in the playoffs. And if you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and smash that like button down below and show your support for your Washington Talonflames. But I do want to thank you guys for checking out the video and encourage you guys to check out the channel if you haven't already. There's tons of cool stuff over there. But I'm going to get up out of here, guys, and I'll see you all next time.